HSS 293, Group 6, Visualization and Imagery. I'm here with Mitch Motley.
I'm Mitch Motley, associate head coach at Louisville Spartans.
All right. So, Mitch, as a coach, what kind of goals do you visualize?
The goals I visualize for myself and for my players. For myself, I visualize game plan situations and calling the right plays at the right times. For my players, I emphasize development and both on and off the court and both execution on and off the court.
All right. Are your goals different from what you want your players to be?
Both different and similar. I want them to execute and develop on and off the court, but I want them to have more long-term goals, such as getting signed and getting a high GPA to get scholarships in college.
All right. So, how do you make those players visualize like better grades and possibly getting signed?
You have to give them situations in practice. And those situations can be tough or they can be easy, but you have to put them in a situation where they have to thrive, kind of a sink or swim situation. And if they sink, then you got to do it again, and you got to give them more confidence to achieve that goal.
Okay, so just like basically through practice and they gain confidence in themselves, they visualize themselves having the same confidence in the game.
You practice how you play, so you have to give them more confidence in practice so they have those confidence going into the game.
All right. So you said something about visualization during the game for yourself, like making a split-second decision. So as a head coach, how do you use visualization to make coaching decisions?
In practice, it comes back to the players. You have to put your players in a certain situation in like a scrimmage, and you have to put it on yourself to make the right play call in the situations because it's not entirely on the players. If you give them the wrong play call, then the play is going to fail. So you have to make that split-second decision to call the right play or call the right timeout at the right time.
Okay, so has there ever been an instance where your opponent has affected your visualization or your judgment call?
Absolutely. We played in the state or the national tournament last year, and their coach called a timeout with 3 seconds left when they didn't have any. So they got a technical foul, which completely changed the play that I was going to run. So we got the ball back instead of being down when we were tied. So we ended up winning the game on the last play that we ran.
Okay, cool. So does visualization affect your confidence, or do you think that it affects your players' confidence
Absolutely.
at all?
Absolutely. You got to have a positive visualization of everything going into it, because if you have a negative visualization, then your confidence is going to be down. If you have a positive visualization, like practicing well, you can visualize playing well in the game. So it's all about confidence when it comes to visualization, because you can visualize anything negative and it can mess up everything that you have going on, or you can visualize the positive things that you've done well in practice and work on the negative things.
Okay, so that kind of leads right into my next question. Have you or your players ever had like a negative visualization?
Absolutely. In practice, we had a few guys at the beginning of the season. Our system's a very tough one to get into, and we had to really work with a few of the guys to kind of get up to speed with it. And some guys weren't shooting the ball as well as they're normally accustomed to. So we had to work with all the negative confidence that they had going into it, and we had to build that up by giving them those hypothetical situations where they had to visualize hitting that big shot or visualize making the right pass. And when they come through in practice, that's when they start showing that in the games.
All right. So basically, I was gonna just ask you how you help them get past it, but I guess just
it's all about practice. It's all about the practice. You really have to put them in those tough situations in practice, and sometimes they're not going to come through right away. You got to continue to put them in those situations. That way, their confidence builds up, and they can visualize themselves succeeding in the game time situation.
Okay. Has there ever been an instance where a player has just kind of, I guess you'd say, flattened out, and you can't really help them get that confidence back?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a player actually this past year that ended up having to leave us because he had a really bad tournament one weekend, and he had college scouts coming to watch him, and his confidence went so low that none of us could even bring him back, and his parents just pulled him out from the program.
So I guess seeing that when a player sees one of their teammates fall out or flatten out like that, do you just kind of deal with it the same way as you would their confidence flattening out?
Pretty much. If one of them leaves, it kind of takes a huge toll on everybody. So you got to, once again, you have to put them in the same gameplay situation just without that piece of the puzzle that we had before.
Right.
You got to make sure that the team's confidence as a whole doesn't fall because of one player's.
All right. Do you do any exercises besides like practice to help visualization? Like, for instance, at first you just visualize the first 10 seconds of a play, and then the next time you revisualize and you add more details to it at a time?
Yeah, absolutely. A good drill that we do with that is moving without the ball. We don't put a ball in with our offense when we first put our offense in. We wanted to run the offense seemingly without anything that can, make something go wrong, like a missed dribble or a missed shot. We want them to have all confidence that they can just run the play right, because once they have that down, then they can visualize exactly what they're supposed to be doing without the ball. Doing it with the ball is a whole lot easier.
Oh, okay. That's actually really cool. I never really thought about anything like that. So I guess it's like without the ball, they run through the whole play without any errors.
Without any errors.
And that kind of
exactly.
They visualize the ball is there.
You can work on the mechanics a lot easier of the play, and then once the play's down, doing it with the ball is a whole lot simpler.
Okay. So you said that you went to the national championship and you won. So I'd say that's an instance for this question. When have your visualizations of a goal came true?
Yeah, absolutely. We went up to the national championship in Indianapolis, and we ended up winning the championship by about 15 points. And all our players next week had great practices leading up to the tournament. They had great practices, so it was easy to visualize them succeeding in the tournament. That's exactly what they did.
All right. Is there any other instances where so whenever you have visualization goals, do you do it like a half at a time or a quarter at a time?
It's pretty much you got to run it play by play. You can only call so many timeouts in a game, so you have to kind of communicate with your players throughout the game flow. But I would put the goals. After every timeout, I give them a goal. If it's an 8-minute mark, I give them a goal to be up by 5 by the 4-minute mark.
Okay.
You got to give them small goals. Each player before each game, I went 12 points, 6 assists, and 80% free throw shooting. You got to give them little goals, because if they achieve those little goals, you give them bigger goals next time. So it's not just about necessarily winning; it's about winning the little battles that you give your players throughout each timeout or throughout the gameplay.
Okay. So you said that there's times whenever your goals you did reach. So has there ever been a time whenever you did not reach that visualization?
Yeah, we did. We following the national tournament in Indianapolis, we had another one in Louisville, actually the big one, and we were playing in the semifinals, and we ended up getting beat by 1 point by a team that we had previously lost to in the state tournament, and that was one of the biggest blows of the season that we had.
Okay, so I guess that just kind of goes back to hitting the practice and running through the drills again, just to get their confidence back up and help them realize that they have that confidence and give them that visualization.
Exactly.
So let's say there's an instance where there's 5 seconds left on the clock and the game's tied up and it's like the championship, and you're looking at your players. You don't really have any more time to give them that practice to help them visualize. So how do you help them visualize that last 5 seconds?
You tell them to relax. You tell them to remember exactly what we went over in practice, because we practice those exact game situations. So you tell them to relax, run what they know, which goes back to doing the exercise without the ball. It's second nature. Just tell them to do what they know, stay composed, go out there and get the job done. And 95% of the time, they're going to go out there and do it.
All right. So I think that almost wraps it up. But do you have any other advice for younger kids that are looking to use visualization to further themselves and gain confidence?
Always stay confident. Practice exactly how you play and play exactly how you practice. Keep a positive mindset with everything. Never get your confidence too low, because that's exactly what's going to tear your career up. Things happen and you miss shots, but you got to get back in the lab the next day and work harder.
All right. So essentially, it's just practicing what you're good at, and like if you're not good at something, just building your confidence.
Exactly.
And running that over and over in your head.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Mitch.
No problem.